So this is your MB5. This is one of our multi-pieces of equipment. It's a little bit shorter than the MB. So first you would want to check your plow. Once you start with your plow, you want to make sure that your bit is anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch above the ground, and you never want to check from the sides. You always want to check from the middle. The sides do get worn because this is a heavy plow and they do wear out on the sides. Next, you would come in here. If you need to make any adjustments, this is where you would do it. You would have to crack this, loosen up that nut. You're not going to get much adjustment, and it slides on the ram, not like the other plow does. Next, if it does wobble and this spins rapidly, you get a lot of shake, you need to adjust this bolt right here. Next, you would check the overall aesthetics of this plow, make sure there's nothing loose or broken on it. One of the other things is when you do check this plow and it is mounted, you want to check to make sure that the pins are actually out, so that way it does not fall off. And they are in the hooks right there. Next, you'll want to check your articulation cylinders, which you have a left and a right. Just make sure those aren't leaking, as well as your hoses. Make sure there's no leaks. If you do suspect a leak, do not check with your hand. Use a piece of paper. Other than that, you would just go over your standard DOT pre-trips on the outsides of it, your lights, everything else, windows, ladders. You do have a main power switch. There is 2 located on this unit. The first one is right here in the front. Next, you would check your fuel. This is where you would do it. It does have a crossover tube, both front and bottom, top and bottom. Next, you want to be careful of this fan. During operation, and when it does get hot, this does have a reverse, so it will spit out snow and or ice onto you. So be extremely careful. It not only does it suck in, it does blow out. Next, you want to check your drivetrain, and you want to make sure that that's greased properly all the way down. Next, you have your deflector shield. This is not like an ordinarily on our power brooms. All this does is this front part drops down, and there's a vibrating button in there, and then it vibrates and it shakes the snow off. Next, you have your standard broom, just like on all of our power brooms, and a stripper bar. Of course, you want to check as you would normally do with the other pieces of equipment. Also, you would want to check these hoses, make sure there's no leaks. This is one of the hydraulic motors that powers this broom. Just check, make sure these hoses aren't leaking. Here is your adjustment box. It's the same as all the other ones. You have your up, down, plus, minus. And when you check your pattern, you want to make sure you have a 2 to 4 inch pattern. Same as always. This does have a little bit different hookup to the chassis. Unlike most, it's in the front. This one is in the rear. So you want to make sure you stay clear of your pinch points, which are right in there. And you also want to check these 2 bolts on this side and the other 2 on the other side to make sure that they're secure, they're not loose, or there's no gaps. This machine does have a blower on it installed. It does work. You can work it in coordinate or opposite, whichever you prefer. Right now, this hood is open. Normally, it would be in the down position, and they have doors to where you can check your hydraulics tank to make sure that you have hydraulics in there, as well as coolant up there. If you need to resort back to open it, you would open it from that little switch right there, which has the up and down arrow, and you must make sure that the engine is on and it is running. You have 2 fuel tanks, one on each side. This is your left side of your equipment. It's just the same standard as any of the left side MBs. There's not really much to go over. Coming around to the back, this does have a rear camera mounted on this. If this was in the up position, it would be located right here. So you can see that there is a rear camera on this.
Close that one up.
As you come around to your right side, this is your standard rear engine of most of our equipment. You have your oil and other fluids that you would need to check. Check them in accordance to DOT and other methods. Next, here is your second power switch. You must make sure that it is in the on position, and that is in the on position. I know it's a little different from standard, but that's what it looks like. Other than that, everything that was on the left side is pretty much on the right side that you would check. Same standards. As you walk up to the front of the vehicle, you will notice that the hood is up on this. To get this hood up, you have to turn this red knob and there's two little grooves in here. And you have to put them into this little slotted area. Hand pump this up, this raises up. This actually folds out, so that way you can get it out into the position like this. Once you get it right here, once you raise it up, you want to put it back into this position, so that way if it comes down while you're checking your fluids, this hood rests on this before it would crush you. This does have an automatic greaser as well. And then when you're ready to close this, all you have to do is just move this into the back position like this. Pull the red knob, close your hood, latch your latches, and you'll be ready to go. Left side of the cab, or right side of the cab, same as the left. You just want to check to make sure, check your two bolts, your mounting bolts, make sure those are secure. And since you're over here, you might as well check the plow pin and make sure that is out. And that concludes the outside. We'll be moving into the inside.